Hello, my name is Sky, and I'm doing my presentation on the Italian political music produced from the 1930s to the 1940s. It was around World War II in the fascist era of Italy. I chose this topic specifically because part of my heritage is Italian, and I do have a lot of connection to the culture. I've lived there for a few years when I was younger, and I've always just found their history very interesting as well. So I really wanted to dive into the musical side of that. So, first, we're going to start off with the history of the political divide and fascist rulers. So, when you have a country that is the birthplace of Renaissance, a rebirth, the appreciation of arts and philosophy, and where opera was invented, it's no stranger that the citizens would face adverse and hardships through their music. So, Benito Mussolini is a name known throughout most of the world as the founder of and leader of the National Fascist Party, who came to power as the Prime Minister of Italy in 1922 until 1943. He is known for his anti-Semitic laws and harsh regime through World War II and sought to control all Italian citizens' everyday life. This included music. In today's presentation, I'm going to look at the history of fascism controlling music and influencing artistic circles as a way to oppress, as well as the combative measures taken through song by the citizens who resisted and opposed the war, and how this actually became a genre of its own music. So when the fascist ideology became the practice in Italy, the black shirts infiltrated every aspect of life. The original goal was not to force citizens to accept, but rather teach them that it is a way of life. An indicator of propaganda music is the lyrics followed by an upbeat instrumental soundtrack, typically kind of jazz. It followed the new music trends at the time. At first glance, this made music seem like a typical song of the time. However, when reading the lyrics, it's pretty clear that it had different ideas.
Salve o popolo d'eroi, salve o patria immortale, son rinati figli tuoi, con la fede nell'ideale, il valor dei tuoi guerrieri, la virtù dei pionieri, la visione della righieri, oggi brilla in tutti i cuori, giovinezza, giovinezza, primavera di bellezza della vita.
So that song that we just listened to was a clip of the song Giovinezza, meaning youth, and it was written and composed by Giuseppe Blanc and is the national anthem and a praise song attempted to the leader Mussolini. This was a very popular song of the time. However, over history, of course, the meaning behind it has lost its popularity and is now more as just a part of history and rather than played. The lyrics translated speak highly of the lifestyle one who shares the ideology of fascism can live and encourages the youth to strive for the ideals of the party. The lyrics, though they were changed slightly from year to year, speak of the same cohesion to follow this party. Music from this time is typically sung and it's accompanied by written music. It is also going to be sang in large groups at rallies or communities. From the fascist mind and from propaganda, most of this music was sung to the groups as a way to show that this is the superior version of life. Here are two more examples of music produced during the fascist party.
Ogni battaglia sempre vincitor, lottar da forte, sfidar la morte, e questo duce il giuramento d'ogni cuor. Aglia sfidò, centuri e cohorti, legioni, in piedi per ora suonò. Avanti gioventù, ogni vincolo, ogni ostacolo, superiamo, pensiamo la schiavitù, e ci soffoca prigionieri sul nostro mar.
So the first one we just listened to was the Saluto al Dulce by Giovanni D'Annunzio in 1936, and the second is Alla Fascista, also written by Giovanni D'Annunzio, who actually wrote a lot of the songs for the Fascist Party. He was an ultra-nationalist and a rural veteran from the First World War. The characteristics from each of these individual songs include the upbeat composition accompanied by chant-like singing. The lyrics are persuasive while still recreating popular music styles at the time to keep people interested. In the beginning of Mussolini's rule in the 1920s, Italian musicians actually had the freedom to compose what they wanted. However, by the mid-1930s, there were restrictions on the lyric and content. Fascist officials made their way into inner circles of Italian musicians and controlled and monitored the creation of music. This led to very similar songs with very similar meanings behind them. So one of the next songs we're going to listen to is going to be Bella Ciao, and this is actually taking away from the propaganda music that was created by the Fascist Party and going into the music that was created to combat the fascist rule by Italians and was developed over time.
Una mattina mi sono alzato, oh vela ciao, vela ciao, vela ciao, ciao, ciao. Una mattina mi sono alzato e ho trovato l'invasore, un partigiano, portami via. Oh vela ciao, vela ciao, vela ciao, 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 partigiano.
So this was one of the more popular songs from that time period, which many people do know today as well. It's called Bella Ciao, and it was written in the early 1900s as a resistance piece, and it slowly became an anti-fascist chant. This may sound familiar as it's still played today in a modern time as either a homage to Italian culture as a song of resistance. This is only one of the songs that is actually still alive and played today just because of the history behind it. Isn't as fascist some rule, but rather combat and to show Italian nationalism. So this particular song is from a video of the TV show Casa de Papel, which shows its relevance today. This song, or the song's combative, was largely sung by crowds, much like the rest of anti-fascist music. In previous slides, we talked about propaganda from the fascist ideas and the music created, but now I'm going to explain the opposite side. The pieces were more similar to chants that would be done as an ensemble. While many songs became popular after World War II, during Mussolini's reign, it was forbidden to perform these songs, so they were sang in secret and through protest. So while both of these genres emerged from the same time period, they have very conflicting messages and ways of performing. While fascist propaganda was played for crowds in an organized manner, anti-war songs were often sung by groups, either protesting or in private. Due to Mussolini's harsh reign, people would be put to death, put to trial for even commenting on going against the government at that time. Due to this, the instruments were not always accompanying anti-fascist music. It was more sang as a chant, like together to show the unity, as more fascist propaganda music was performed for an audience rather than sang together. As we can see in both these songs, the lyrics are both have intention. There also can be both sung as chants, as well as in large parties. Fascist propaganda was also, as we talked, monitored by the government and the promotion of war and praise lyrics towards a certain one. Anti-fascist music was often more somber lyrics and promoted a unified thought. So we saw before how the basis styles is similar, and now we're going to look at the instruments that would accompany the music. So as I was mentioned before, the music during this time period was meant to line up with modern times. So they wanted people to like this music, to understand this music, to actually listen to this music as a way of coercing them to follow these fascist ideals. So it was very popular in the 1930s and 1940s as jazz is modern music. So that's what we see, a lot of the instruments lining up. Very big one is the saxophone, the piano, the cello, harp, trumpet, violin as well. That was actually Mussolini's favorite instrument. So while music was allowed, it was very controlled. And if it was not controlled, it was done in secret. Alrighty, so why listening to both genres, one may assume that they are the same, but by further translation of the lyrics and researching the history, we can recognize that while they were produced in the same time period, the two genres were nothing alike in the message and promotion. In modern day, these pieces are looked at as historical tellings of a time period. The dramatic and inspiring lyrics hold up to Italian culture of being passionate and meaningful. So thank you for listening.